Hi, folks, and welcome to Damian Space News, episode 10. Now, this I hope to make a very short one. I'm not going to show you any other video clips at this point in time. I'd like to debunk a few things. Um, Spaceport Cornwall, that's in the UK, southwest coast of the UK. They just had an attempt at a satellite launch, first time ever from the UK, first time ever from Western Europe. And I'm tired of seeing the mainstream TV news calling it failure, basically. Um, I'd like to debunk a few things here and now, straight off the bat. I don't have models built for this, you know, the way I like my models. I like my SpaceX Falcon 9 model. I like my Falcon Heavy model. By the way, I'll be doing a follow-up video on this one soon because it's going to be launching again on Friday. So the Falcon Heavy will be going up again on Friday. At least that's the schedule. I'm going to use this. At least I'm going to use the top part of this as a demonstration piece. Like I said, the Virgin Orbit Launcher 1, courtesy of the Jumbo 747, that's a Boeing 747, called Cosmic Girl, launched last night at about 10 o'clock last night, Irish time. The rocket detached from it about 11 o'clock last night, Irish time, and it was supposed to deploy its satellites that were on board the rocket, not the Jumbo, at about midnight last night. Anyway, as it turns out, the latter part didn't happen. What I want to say, oh yeah, back to my models. I don't have a 747 model, but what I've quickly stuck together is this. The way the whole system works is, very quickly, 747 takes off from Newquay Airport in Cornwall, UK. Attached to its port side wing is, I'm using my Falcon 9 upper stage because it's just very roughly, nothing here is to scale, right? The jumbo jet has 4 engines underneath it, but they also have a spare mounting bracket for a fifth engine if they need to bring a spare engine to anywhere else in the world. That is where this is located. So the 747, we've all seen them do this many a time before. It takes off successfully, as it did last night, successfully. It got up into the high altitude, well, for a jumbo, its normal cruising altitudes of, what was it, 10,000 meters, 33,000 feet, which I think you would agree is about the normal cruising altitude for the 747 or many other planes as well. When it got up there and it was happy enough to release, it released its rocket. Put that out of the way. It released this rocket, and this rocket then fired up. It's a two-stage rocket. A two-stage rocket. It fired up its engine on the first stage, and it propelled itself up towards space, and successful. Then, once it had got high enough up, it detached and was presumably disintegrated in the atmosphere. Then the second stage carried on in its mission. It has a single engine, and the engine fired, propelling it further up to space, further up into space, and this is where things went wrong. The second stage of this rocket that was carrying 9 satellites, I forget where they're all from, but one was from Oman, another important one actually was from Wales, and this would have been Wales' first satellite to launch into orbit. Ireland also, by the way, has a satellite, our first one, that's ready to launch, but it hasn't launched yet. I don't know what it's launching on, but anyway, Ireland hasn't. Ireland has built a satellite to go into orbit, but it hasn't launched it yet. Wales has built their first satellite, and it was on board this to go into orbit. History for the making. Um, what happened anyway was this second stage of the rocket, the engine fired up, but it didn't get enough thrust to carry it as far as it was supposed to go up into the correct orbit. It fired, it was supposed to fire for a while, then it was supposed to coast, i.e., drift, until it got high enough on that trajectory before they ignited the engine again, and then it corrected its maneuvers to get exactly where it wanted to go, and then in the right orbit, then deploy its satellites. What happened was the first firing of the engine, of the second stage of the engine, wasn't strong enough, wasn't powerful enough. It didn't produce enough thrust to get it exactly where it wanted to go. Now, what I'm hearing is that the engine gimbaled a bit like that, trying to correct its own thrust to get it into the orbit it wanted to be, but it wasn't successful. There was a problem with the amount of thrust from that engine, single engine, on the second stage of that Launcher 1 rocket. And therefore, afterwards, it wasn't getting to its destination, and we believe that the satellites were all lost, and we believe that the whole lot's going to come down and get destroyed in the atmosphere on its way back when it's falling back to Earth. That's what we believe. We don't know a lot about it yet. Virgin Orbit are doing follow-up investigations along with many other relevant bodies, but at the moment we don't know for sure. What I'd like to clarify here is this was the first UK launch, or the first Western European launch, if you want to call it that, and the mainstream media seem to be calling it a failure. Actually, the only one I haven't seen call it a failure is the angry astronaut. Fair play to him. He was over there covering it live. Bottom line is, Newquay Airport have spent many years upgrading, improving their systems to be able to facilitate a space launch. This time it's on a Jumbo 747. That's quite alright. They were capable of doing that anyway. But being able to accept satellites, integrate them into their into the load bay of the rocket, and being able to fuel up the rocket section, that's a lot of improvements needed to be done to facilitate this sort of a service. They done that extremely successfully. So, able to integrate satellites into a rocket while on a Jumbo 747. Success. Jumbo 747, Boeing 747, owned by Virgin Orbit, called Cosmic Girl, launched. It took off as normal from Newquay Airport. Fair play to Newquay Airport again. It got up to its correct altitude, 10,000 meters, I think it was, 33,000 feet. Do your own calculations. It then separated from it detached the rocket from itself, from the airplane, and then the rocket powered up its first engine on the first stage and successfully cleared the aircraft, cleared airspace, and got into space. Now, that's when the problem started to happen. The first stage done its job, it detached, as I said, and then things weren't going to plan, shall we say. Newquay Airport, also known as Cornwall Spaceport for the UK. Great job from them, great job from the UK Space Agency, great job from everybody concerned, except the mainstream press. They're saying this is a failure. I don't think so. The fact that the satellites were lost, yes, very unfortunate. This was a test mission that didn't quite go according to plan. Now, keep in mind, Virgin Orbit have done this flight, this launch from their jumbo jet, I think 5 times already in the US, in the desert, whatever they call that, the Mojave Desert, is it? In the US, they've done this, I think, 5 times previous, or 4 times maybe previous. I'm not sure exactly what the success rate was for that, but they have been doing it. This is not a first for them. Just something went wrong this time. So, I just want to clarify that. That's it. As far as I can say, I think Newquay Airport in Cornwall, the UK Spaceport in Cornwall, done a great job. Everybody done a great job in making this happen. They're capable of doing it again. They had no problems. It was just the actual rocket part, that the second half of the rocket part, that had a problem. And well, that's up to Virgin Orbit or whoever to sort out those issues. They are investigating it. I'm sure we'll hear what went wrong. And Virgin Orbit have already said that they will be back attempting space flights again as soon as they've figured out what the causes were and they have rectified the issues. So, yeah, apart from that, Falcon Heavy is launching on Friday. This is another big thing. Falcon Heavy was out of action for, 3 years? And then at the end of last year, it launched. And this Friday, we've got the first launch of 2023 of it, and there's 4 more of these scheduled. So I'll probably do a follow-up on that launch. And SpaceX down in Boca Chica, the development area for Starship and Super Heavy, well, things are ramping up down there too. We have a fully stacked Ship 24 on top of Booster 7, and it looks like we're getting ready for serious next level testings soon in the next weeks. And well, I think they could be ready for launch next week, but Elon has tweeted that they may be able to launch at the end of February, but very likely in March. We'll see. We know what Elon time means, but anyway. So, from me, for now, you're up to date with Damian at Clifton Bay. Bye.